Welcome to Plastic Profiles Community Spotlight, the podcast where we dive deep into the vibrant world of the action figure collecting community. Each episode, we sit down with passionate collectors, creators, and, who knows, maybe industry insiders to explore their journeys, hear their stories, and discuss their passion projects. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, join us as we celebrate the artistry and enthusiasm that fuels this exciting community. Get ready for insightful conversations and a closer look at the people that capture our imaginations. Let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Plastic Profiles Community Spotlight. With us today is JJ. Now, you might know him on what?
Oh, I was just giving. Come on, man! You got to flow with these things. I was just giving him credit, like, "Hey, I'm excited."
I can edit that. It's okay. It's JJ, and you might know him as Specopstoys on Instagram or CenTexCollector on YouTube. He is a jack of all trades, and he's with us today. How you doing, JJ?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on. We're trying to basically, Steve and I need to make friends, and no,
it's lonely out there, man.
It's got friends. No, there's so many people out there doing great things, and I want to meet them all. So, one person at a time. You, like I said, you're a jack of all trades. I see you do TikTok, you do Instagram, you got eBay, you got YouTube, you're 3D printing, toy photography.
Nice.
You got all that. We got all that to get into. But let's start in your youth. I imagine as your youth, you might have been an action figure enthusiast.
Yeah, so date myself here, but yeah, I would say Christmas to 86 is when I started. Well, actually, my uncle and my mom had joined the Army, and my uncle and my mom actually bought me G.I. Joe's Christmas to 86, and that's what got it started.
Okay. So was G.I. Joe your main passion, or did you have other toy interests at the time?
Yeah, I think they kind of, spoon-fed it to me, right? By them buying me Joe's, that's what got me into like action figures moving forward. I mean, I had some He-Man and some Transformers, but yeah, I would say Joe's was the winner, especially with my mom being in the Army, or just got in the Army, and then my uncle, he was prior service Army, so it's like, here you go, you're gonna do G.I. Joe.
All right, G.I. Joe fan. So, Snake Eyes, a great ninja or the greatest ninja?
Greatest ninja.
Yeah, see, I like this.
Snake Eyes for life.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, so you collected Joe toys in the 80s. Did you get anything? Were you into comic books, or was it the cartoons, or what was it that got you into the Joes outside of the toys? Did you follow the other ephemera, the other media? That's a better word.
Yeah, so once they got me into the toy line, and then I remember watching definitely the Sunbow cartoon 80s and the 90s, even into the DIC cartoon before school started. So yeah, it was definitely the cartoons. I never got into the comics until adulthood.
Okay. All right.
Same here, man.
Yeah. I got in the comics way late as myself, but I was still a kid, but it wasn't so easy to just like. Thankfully, they did those editor's notes. So when you're reading something, you're like, what is going on? Like my first issue was number 50, and I'm flipping it open, and Storm Shadow's dead. I'm like, what?
That happened.
All right. So did you have the teenage burnout that we all had suffered at some point? Did you, have you kept on collecting, remaining vigilant?
Yes, I would say, like most of us, right? Probably early teen. Before I hit high school, I definitely actually, let me step back. So again, my mom was in the Army, right? So at the time, so in the 90s, we were living in New York. So when we moved from New York to Texas, I knew I couldn't take all the Joes with me. So I traded my Joes to a friend for comic books. I knew that was easier to move. So by the time I hit middle school, 8th grade, I was done with Joe's, and then I didn't get back into the hobby until about 2003.
Okay.
Wow. That's it. I'm gonna just point this out. That's an interesting mindset to have. Like at that age, you're like, I have this big move. You know what? This isn't efficient. I'm gonna have to scale this down.
Well,
Right.
well,
You know what I'm saying? So that's, I mean, good on you. Like I'm
Yeah.
thinking that's impressive. Like, you know, for somebody to think like that at that age, you know what I mean?
well,
I would,
as an army brat, I didn't have a choice, right? So it's kind of like my mom was like, "Well, you're gonna lose most of this stuff." But cool story. So let me roll back. So the friend I gave those Joes to back in the early '90s, probably about I don't know 5 years or so ago, he reached out to him like, "Hey, I still got your Joes in my parents' shed. Do you want them?" And I was like, "Heck yeah!"
oh,
Oh
wow.
So
wow!
we ended up making a deal, and I bought my Joes back.
I don't think
Nice.
that's ever happened in the history of ever.
Dude,
That's
that's
amazing.
kismet, man. Like, yo, you were blessed, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were meant to be yours.
Wow, that's incredible.
If you
man.
love something, let it go. And if it comes back, whew, that's awesome.
Cool.
Okay. All right. So now you've got your Joes and your comics, and you said it was 03s when you got back into toys.
Yeah, so '03 is when I got into an eBay. That's when I first not opened, but when I started my eBay account. I didn't start selling, but I opened my eBay account, and then that way, you guys know, it tapped you into a worldwide market of, oh crap, there's the Joes I had as a kid.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing I probably got was, for some reason, I bought the Swamp Masher and then the Hammer from 1990 because I love the Hammer.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow. That's pretty
Yeah. The Swamp Master, is that the neon green with the purple wheels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't
a
know
fun
why,
one.
but yeah, I bought that one. So, and then I started collecting. At the time, I was collecting the McFarlane sports picks because they killed off
yeah.
starting lineup. So I was
Yeah.
collecting those too.
Oh yeah, the sports picks were hot back then. They were all the alternate uniforms and yeah. I was working at Toys R Us at that time, so I remember seeing them all. I'm like, oh my gosh. Never had any Mets really. They'd have to have a good player for them to be on there, but no, they had a few. But anyways, okay. So what were your first? So 03. So that's toys, or was that Joe's?
Combination of both. I was doing Joe's and the sports picks and some other random stuff. I can't remember right now, but yeah.
Okay. Did you get into any of the what they call the new sculpt era, the shoulder pad era, where everybody's got the big shoulders?
Businessmen.
Like Joe, what were they? It was Venom versus Valor, or Valor versus Venom.
Yeah, I did. Those were in the store, so yeah, I was picking those up too to, like, quote unquote relive my childhood. So I was picking those up at the time. Yep.
Yeah.
And I was keeping those pretty much on, MOC or whatever you want to call it. I kept them in the box.
Nice.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, so we've refueled the toy hobby, and so what was your first? What came first in your box of tricks? Did you start taking toy photos first, or how did that play out?
Well, so about 03.
Well, you do custom figures too, right? Were you customizing at this time?
Not yet. That started, so then my son was born shortly after that. So I probably started 03, and then my son was born late 03. So obviously there goes your money, right? So I took a little break again. And then when 25th anniversary came out, what was that 07 to 08? I got back into a 25th anniversary. And like 08, 09, I did a little bit of customizing. Not that good at painting, but yeah, I started some customizing back in about 08, 09.
All right.
And
so
then,
what was your first custom figure? Do you remember? Of any kind, any brand?
Yeah, I still I have the vehicle. My first custom figure was Gung Ho. I made him Tiger Force. And then if I turn on my camera, this was my first. I still have it. This was a Walmart like Jeep, and I made it Tiger Force.
Oh, that is rad. That is awesome.
So
yeah. And that's 1/18 scale, right?
Yes. Yeah, this was a Walmart Jeep. This would be awesome if Classified could make something like this. But yeah, it was 1/18 scale. It was Walmart, probably like Lennard or something.
That is pretty bad. Yeah, that is great. All right. So you're customizing and then well, yeah. So what got you into then the toy photos?
So then probably, I don't know, it was like 20, about 2012 or so, I started doing the toy photography where I had an inkjet printer in the house, so I'd print out my own little backgrounds and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know, I've just obviously like all of us, right? They're horrible in the beginning, they got better, and I don't know, just something fun, different to do within your hobby, right?
Yeah. I collected toys for years, and it never occurred to me. I think I took one with the Hot Toys Joker and Batman, like the interrogation scene, because it comes with the background.
Oh
But I
yeah.
didn't really know what I was. It never occurred to me that I could do this with other things. I was just like, oh, look at that. That's funny. I think I even put it on my normal Facebook account, like a nerd.
No, I like that aspect though. You take pictures of these hobbies that everybody thinks that is just for kids, right? And you're reliving this stuff. But then when you take the photos and you look at it, you can see kind of like, man, that's really cool. It gives you a sense of nostalgia. So guys that normally wouldn't look at this stuff are picking it up because it brings those memories back. And it's like, man, this is actually a nice photo. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
I think that's real cool because you're expanding the audience,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I got inspired. Was some guys on, like you said, some guys on Instagram inspired me.
Nice, man.
So you're taking toy pictures. So when did YouTube start for you? What got you into your YouTube channel? Is at the moment you have 924 or 5 subscribers. Find them, like and subscribe. CenTexCollector. And we'll flash that down here too periodically. But so what got you into wanting to get out there with the YouTubes?
I think initially it was, obviously trying to get monetized, right? But then you realize the grind. So I've only been doing YouTube for maybe 2 years or so. Because I know I started it. I got frustrated like most of us do, right? I took a break for like 6 months with YouTube and TikTok, and I came back to them both. But I think first, I wanted the monetization right, and then I realized, oh, this is a grind. Now it's more so, okay, let me do this as far as, like Steve said, inspire others, but also give knowledge and educate. So when I do my reviews, and this is what Swag and Collect and I talk about all the time on TikTok, is when I do my reviews, I try to put in bits, because there's guys who collect classified who never got into Joe's or as a kid, so I try to put knowledge bits in there. For instance, when Tiger Paw came out with Wreckage, I was like, well, you know what? His name was actually Sabretooth, and I gave a brief little history of that figure. So I try to give some knowledge and educate as I can with the YouTube. So
that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, and you've got all kinds of videos on there. You've got your 3D prints that you've got on there, which we'll get to in a minute. You've got reviews, a lot of cool stuff on there. So, anybody watching, go check it out. So we mentioned 3D prints. What got you into 3D printing? Was it toy related, and that was the gateway, or did it happen some other way?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I was dabbling in customizing, so I bought some 3D printed heads and vests off a guy off eBay, and I'm like, you know what? If I keep doing this, it's getting expensive. I can do this myself. So I started looking into 3D printers, resin 3D printers. So I got in the resin 3D printers first, and then I started seeing people doing vehicles. Like, oh, I can do that too. So just jumping off the deep end.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what a time to be alive, though.
Yeah,
right?
It really is.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Remember when you were a kid, you would think, man, if I had like this one special weapon, I'd destroy all of these guys or whatever the case may be. Now, if you have the means and the know-how, you can print it or pay somebody else to do it. Like, that's beautiful. Like, all your dreams come true.
Yeah, like this Globless is a completely 3D printed figure, and I had Ben's Customs. He's on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. He painted it for me, but that's a completely resin 3D printed action figure.
Wow.
So that's wild, man.
And then I have another one too. So like this dog. This is a robotic dog, completely resin 3D printed.
Okay. Now, who's he hanging out with there? Was that 118 Joe's, or is that? Oh no, that's
classified. Yes, classified.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Sorry, I was just being silly. I just like to see who he's hanging out with.
Yeah, I threw him in the Mars. I threw him with the Mars guys. I figured that's something Destro would have built. So I try to.
I can see that. They're always testing these robot dogs. You ever see those videos of those look how natural it is, and it looks like scary. You know.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So. All right. So we got your 3D printing down. So what's your favorite 3D thing you printed? 3D printed thing you 3D printed.
Probably a toss up between.
Well, show me them both. Show me if you can. Let's see them all. I'm
probably this. We got this Fang that I did.
Oh, right, and that's classified scale. I think I've seen that, right?
Yeah, I got that.
That's really great.
And got a ferret over here.
Wow.
And
that's. I make my own vehicles, man. Like,
yeah, I don't need Hasbro.
Got this snake armor. I really like printing the diorama stuff, which I'm eventually put on my eBay page. But I mean, like all the dial stuff,
CenTexCollector on eBay.
Dumpsters and crates.
Yeah, see, I like the diorama pieces too, because it's hard to, I go through thrift. We've got one local thrift store here. Well, we've got more, but the one I go to, I look and I'm always looking for little pieces and things that I can, just set in the background or something.
Yeah, I got this shark. I'm still trying to figure out how to get this more clear, but you got the shark here with a random barrier. I got Big Bo. I printed his own punching bag.
Awesome.
Got a sofa back there because I'm thinking about maybe making a shelf like a gym locker room type. We got lockers back there. And then one I just recently finished is the Dreadnought Swamp Fire. That's probably and I'm working on the Thunder Machine currently. So
now the Swamp Fire, I watched the video, but I don't recall. Did you say that the pylon or the pontoons or those things did go up? Or
no, unfortunately not. He didn't design it to where they weren't functional.
Okay.
So.
Still very cool though.
Yeah.
Still very cool. Oh, is that Dr. Mindbender's lab? That's a 3D printed, isn't it?
Yeah, so I printed the desk and this little sci-fi crate, the monitor, this little medical bed that Eel's on. Then there's this med station back here. And then this cryo the bat is in. This little office chair.
Oh, that's awesome. I need to get an office chair. That's really cool. Is that the Cobra Law guard? Is that?
Yeah, so Ben's Customs did this one. So he did that for me. He did that, and he did the Nemesis, and he did this Pythona. So Ben's Customs is great.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't have the time to 3D print and paint and everything myself. So
yeah.
That's a heck of
that's really cool,
man.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right. So we've got your 3D prints. So what's next? What's next for your bag of tricks? What are you going to add in? What do you have coming up? You got any new projects you're working on or going to work on? Or
so right now I'm currently making a Thunder Machine for Ben. Ben was like, it'd be cool if you can make a Thunder Machine. I was like, challenge accepted. So I'm halfway through that.
Yes.
Okay.
Then I'm looking at maybe the Cobra stuff, because I like Cobra stuff, right? I'm not really a G.I. Joe guy. I like Cobra stuff, right? So I was eyeing
it's usually cooler, yeah.
I was eyeing the stun. And the hard part with these vehicles, I can't, you have to pick and choose what you keep, right? Because they take up so much space at 1/12.
Right.
So most of the stuff I've showed you, I have up for sale, except for like the Swamp Fire I'll keep. The Thunder Machine, I know when I finish it, I want to keep it. I've already promised it to Ben.
Right.
But I mean, I would love to do something like there's a guy on Facebook. One guy's doing a flag, another one has done the terror drone, but I just don't have the space to do something like that. But that would be like a dream project, right?
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
And you said, and where can we find all these 3D prints of yours? Or any of your 3D prints that you have for sale?
Oh, they're all gonna be on my eBay store, CenTexCollector.
CenTexCollector, very good.
There it is.
So you're using your 3D printer. you started with resin. What's the difference? There's the filament, right? And then there's, so I'm not sure what you got. What do you recommend? Why do you recommend?
Yeah, so I started opposite. Most guys start with the FDM and then they move to resin. I jumped off the deep end because the resin is more of you being like a mad scientist, right? I have it out in the garage. I have all the printers out in the garage, but the resin is more toxic, right? You have to wear gloves and you have to make sure you cover your face and things of that nature. But resin is definitely better for like your head sculpts and accessories and vests. Like the vest, they have like a rubber-like resin that I've used, and there's a higher learning curve for the resin printer. As with the FDM or the filament, right? It's more, especially the Bamboo Lab. Highly, anybody trying to get into it, Bamboo Lab is pretty point and click, right? And you can get going within minutes printing filament. As with resin, there's definitely some settings you have to do. So I would say resin's for your detail, and then your filament is more for more functional or bigger projects like these vehicles.
Okay.
So it sounds like you're saying that filament is maybe more. Does it have to do with stability too? Is filament more durable, or is it?
It depends, because with the heads and stuff, I print with ABS like resins, so they're pretty strong. The filament, yes and no. Like the PLA, I might switch to ABS filament because the PLA sometimes on test fitting or gluing parts together, I'll snap parts, or actually it might snap. So the PLA is pretty weak. And then you have your PET G, which is a little stronger, and then of course ABS is even stronger. So I might dabble in some ABS next as far as printing for filament.
Okay. So if you're looking to start out, you wouldn't suggest starting out in resin. You would suggest starting out even though that's what you did. But I guess it depends on what you're wanting to do, is what it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah, if you just want to print head sculpts and accessories, yeah, I'll definitely go with the resin, like with the Elegoo Mars 4. That's what I'm running now.
Okay.
Or if you want to do something bigger, go with the Saturn 3 or 4. But yeah, if you want to do the vehicles or other stuff like the dial, because you can do dial stuff too in resin, but you're going to eat up a lot more resin, and it's just cheaper to do it in filament if you want to do dial pieces.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
And quicker. The filament printing's a lot quicker for that type of stuff as well compared to resin.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I still think that's incredible. You can just basically, build your fantasy, freaking your dream toy, and just keep at it.
Yeah, my child me wouldn't be able to comprehend any of this.
No, you can't. And or like you could just pretend like you're just like this weird plastic surgeon, you know what I'm saying? And like, everybody you come to, this is a new face, like a new body sculpt, like that'd be where my mind will go. I'm like, okay, what do we have today? Like, you know what I mean?
Plastic surgeon, is that a pun, Steve?
You got it.
Dad jokes.
Yeah. Kidneys.
All right.
All right. Oh, what are we looking at? Oh, you're showing stuff here. Oh, we got a dojo.
Yeah, just a little ninja diorama setup. So I've taken these extreme sets, where you guys will use them for background. So I just cut them up and put them. I just cut them up and put them in my shelf to make a quick little setup for your shelf.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. So, yeah, Steve, those are just like cardboard, essentially, pictures, and then you put it and it looks like it's a 3D thing. So it's an efficient way to have a background without having to do, it's not ever, in my mind, as cool as having an actual 3D thing, but how many 3D dojos can you find?
Especially
I'll just get a 3D dojo and put that on the shelf.
Right? Yeah.
Right. So it's a cool
wow, man.
It's a cool way to beef up your shelf. Yeah. All right, so there's a house fire. Which shelf are you saving first?
Probably the vintage stuff.
Yeah.
As I pretty much, I don't have them all, but I have them, from 82 to about 91, 92 when I stopped collecting. So,
Okay. It looks like you have them in year order. Is that right?
yep. Yeah. So, yep. 82, 83,
82, 83.
etc. all the way.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Wow.
And then I got some 25th. I kept some 25th. Like you said, there's some Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, everybody's favorite ninjas.
Yeah, yeah.
Buddy.
And then I put some, and I kept some vehicles too. There's his tanks and the Demon as a kid. And then we even have the Castle Grayskull back there and
Oh,
some
yeah.
more of his tanks. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome, man. Looking good. Well, so how do you, this is a question I may try to ask everybody. I haven't asked anybody yet. What do you do with your classified accessories? How do you contain them all? Do you have drawers or baggies or?
Yeah, so I have this box down here. It's hard to see, but essentially what I do is I take a big bag, and if I have the box art, I'll cut it out.
Oh, cool.
A little bag, I think this is like a 4x6, and it's a 6x9. And then you can see down here, I just have them all in this little tote, bagged up and tagged and bagged.
Okay.
That's smart, man.
Yeah, because they give us so much gear, and I'm glad they do. But what am I supposed to do with all this stuff? Most of them can't hold it all at once.
Yeah, I do it all for the Marvel Legends. Anything that has accessories, I just tag it and bag it, and then yeah.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, I saw you had some Warhammer figures. You introduced into the Cobra ranks, I think. Uh-oh. Is it me?
No, I get you loud and clear.
Oh.
There it is. We back.
We're back.
And then speaking of customs, I've only done 2 of my own so far. So I've done Big Lob.
Oh, nice.
Hey.
There's the Big Lobs. I knew we would never get them, right? So, there's Sarge and Tunnel Rat and Chuckles and Big Lob and Jinx is somewhere. And then I did Black Major because I know we'll never get a Black Major.
Oh, that's cool.
So, but like I said, I just haven't had the time to sit down and paint and customize like I wanted to.
You're only doing 80 different social media things. What do you mean you didn't have the time? No, I get it.
If you tried.
Yeah.
And then here's one of the resin 3D printed. This is a shield that I printed out. It's got the big Cobra logo on it. I thought that would be a better seller on eBay, but for some reason, they've been kind of sitting there. But those are really cool, those shields.
So that's basically, so it's like a riot shield. So if you wanted to give the Alley Viper or anybody else a little different look.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. Cool.
It's just so cool to just have that, that space, and all your stuff is just dedicated to this room. Like I always love that.
Yeah. I'm very envious. Very envious.
Yeah.
I'll get there again one day.
Yeah.
Nice to have the man cave and
Absolutely.
Just like here with the Dreadnought shelf, right? Like I actually 3D printed this one in filament, this bike, and it's the same bike, but this one's actually in resin.
Wow.
And then, these little garage tiles I found somewhere and printed them out.
Oh, the floor relief mats? Is that what that is? That's cool. Yeah.
And then that chameleon I actually 3D printed. Zartan's chameleon.
Okay.
And then there's a bunch of random, like you got that little water gallon, that little fence back there, a workbench, some pallets, some barrels.
I would think the motorcycles would be pretty decent sellers.
Yeah, I haven't printed any yet to sell. I was trying to make my own motorcycles for all the Dreadnoughts first, but yeah, I'm probably gonna make more of these.
Because I know there's a company that does 112 motorcycles, Maisto, I think. Yeah, but they're not quite, because Joe's aren't quite. They're a little bigger than 112 exactly, so they seem a little bit petite next to a classified. But it's either that or buy 1,000 Undertakers and get his bike from him.
Get the bike.
Yeah. That's very cool.
And then also another one I would say that's not spoken about enough would probably be, the Action Force figures. So for some reason, guys either don't know them, or you can mix Action Force in really well with Joe's.
Right.
So for instance, these are all from the Action Force line. And if we go back to my the Ninja shelf, I mixed in, and then that's another thing, like you said, I got Marvel Legends ninjas mixed in here. I got these Articulate Icons ninjas mixed in. I even got Sub-Zero over here mixed in.
Join the ranks.
And then this guy back here, I kit bashed from a Marvel Legends and turned him into a ninja for the Joe shelf. Then this guy, he's like my fill-in Budo, so he's an Articulated Icons.
Oh, yeah.
So if you never heard of Whoosh Articulated Icons, they're a good figure line.
I don't know.
And then there's something else, but yeah, I got like my little Merc squad. So I got Mr. T I kit bashed here with a Punisher and Killmonger. That's my little Merc squad right there for the Joe team. So I think people, don't be scared to mix in your. I got Judge Dredd back here chilling with the law enforcement team, right? So we got Judge Dredd back here.
Nice.
I am the law.
Cool. Yeah.
So
was that a Stallone impression? I am the law.
What that was, but that line from the movie.
And then I even got some import figures, right? Like this guy recently came out from 5K Toys.
Oh, and yeah. I've seen some come out that are 112 that have like cloth clothes, like not like Mezco, but like fully like with the web gear and the helmets and all that.
Yeah,
is that one there?
Yeah, this one right here. Yep. So they're a tad bit smaller than classified, but I felt like they fit. So these two are imports. Oh, I even threw in Deathstroke to be like an assassin for Destro.
He fits.
So he was another import. So, then I got the Star Wars Black Series, Garden Destro back here. So I think it's just, like you thinking outside the box, and don't be scared to mix in other lines for me. If it fits, I'll throw it in there. I'm not going to go crazy and throw like Iceman in here, right? But if I got somebody who will fit, then and enjoying the community. Like, again, this one was made by Ben's Customs. He saw that I had this black major 3 3/4, so he made me this class one. He just sent it to me. I'm like, dude, why'd you do that? He's like, oh, it looked cool. I was like, oh, thank you. So again, Ben's Customs, TikTok and YouTube. He
we'll put a link in the description.
There's so many good customizers, guys that can paint and kit bash, and that's hopefully I can do stuff that inspires others, and I look to others like Ben and some others to get inspiration.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to do this. There's a lot of talented people out there, and some of them are flying under the radar, and so any attention I can bring to them is what I want to do. So thank you for coming on, and thank you for the tour. You got a lot of cool stuff going on, and hopefully we've shed the community spotlight on you. I'm not going to end every episode like that, but I could. You've been spotlighted.
That's right.
I'll have a catchphrase at some point. Again, I'm not going to go through them all. I'll put them all right here. But this Spec Ops, he's on Instagram. He's CenTexCollector on YouTube. Find him, subscribe to him, follow him, like him, share him, boost him. He's a good dude. He's doing good stuff.
Oh man, it's awesome.
I am Agentchuckles. I have minimal skills and the things that I do. But you can find all my
proud
social
of those
media
skills.
but I take pictures of them, darn it.
That's right.
You can find those things, links to those all in the descriptions down below there. Steve, why don't you talk about what you do?
Come to thewritingdad.com. I like to talk about being a dad, all the funny stuff, all the headachy stuff, and just we like to build a community. So come on by. You get to check out some of the short stories that I have posted up before they get published. So love to have you.
All right. That'll about do it for us. Unless he shows us more cool stuff. All right. All right, stop it. No. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. This was awesome meeting you, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.